So, Zenless just put out a video giving us our first look at what's to come in Season 3, or Patch 3.0, and my hopes are as high as ever. I do recommend watching the video yourself because I aim to discuss and theorize rather than recap. I've put the link at the top of the description. Let's start at the beginning. Our narrative guy, Peng, acknowledges that the plotline with Helios Academy and Phaethon's Eyes has progressed ever so slowly. Throughout this video, there felt like there was a lot of acknowledging the story's weaknesses, which was great to hear. And what better way to address this than with a very direct development? This is the etheric other, Pyroi. Pyra? Pyrois? Look, we'll have to wait until the dub to know for sure, but for now, I'll go with Pyrois. This absolute unit is actually going to be a unit. The direct quote is, "They will be just like any other agent, supporting the proxies in combat." I have to imagine this will be comparable to, for instance, using the Trailblazer in combat in Honkai Star Rail, or the Traveler in Genshin. I can't wait to see how this is executed, but we are far from done with the etheric other. The keen-eared may have picked up on some Greek influence with the name Pyrois. Sure enough, Pyrois was the name of one of the horses that pulled the sun god's chariot, sun god Helios. As the legend goes, Helios gave the reins of his chariot to his son, Phaethon, who did such a job driving that it caused a bunch of disasters on Earth and Zeus had to outright kill the guy, dropping his body into the river Eridanus. That's where Eridu comes from. So using this story, we can draw all sorts of parallels to Zenless and make all kinds of theories. Another one of the chariot's horses is named Eos. So with Eos and now Pyrois under our reins, could we be gearing up to ride Helios' chariot? What could that be? Will we be picking up on where Carol Arna left off? After all, she was up to something with the creator. What about Seed? She hails from Helios Academy too, yet we haven't heard from her since her literal only prominent story appearance, her agent story. The last I want to say about Pyrois is that their silhouette gives me a vague vibe of a Thracian crossed with Sunbringer. Not really notable, just an observation. Moving along, yes, Roscaelifer. I love what we have to go on. Visually, I would almost describe it as modern steampunk, or bizarrely, contemporary Victorian sci-fi, if you have literally any idea what I mean. I'm loving it. And if I am to be frank, I was getting a little tired of the monotonous Phylum Heights. Look, I get we need to go to China as per gacha game rules, but you can at least put a spin on it. What's awesome about Roscaelifer is that it has that spin. It's in the air. And from the looks of the concept art, it will also be populated with human-sized Bangbu. The island is said to be a utopia for Bangbu and human alike, a city ruled by Sunbringer. The livestream said it like that, in present tense. Sunbringer is alive and still in charge of Roscaelifer. This means she's old as hell. Either our timeline of the past actually happened a lot more recently than we realized, and she's just survived naturally, or she's circumvented death through other means. I could see these means being related to the Creator and Hollows. Alternatively, she could have preserved herself in a mechanical body. A Bangbu would be on brand. Roscaelifer's location is classified and restricted, meaning we're some special guests. My bet is that Velina and Norma will be the ones to take us in. Pretty safe bet, since it's almost certain that at least Velina's banner will be running with 3.0. Remember, these two hail from Marcel Group, the company that creates Bangbu, the company that Sunbringer was the founder of. Seems safe to assume they're headquartered in Roscaelifer. In the various pieces of concept art, you can spot Billy and Emilian. We absolutely should not take concept art as an indication of anything, but why these two instead of just Phaethon and Eos? I sincerely do hope the Cunning Hares are able to join us throughout Roscaelifer. Having some form of recurring major characters has been a wish of mine for a long time. More often than not, the other proxy sibling and fairy were only really written as information relays. Very rarely did they get to be characters, since the story was always so focused on the active banner characters. Having Billy and Anby tag along for our adventures would be such a nice, consistent thing to look forward to. Literally one of my favorite parts of each new Star Rail patch is getting to mess around with March. It's like a close friendship, something Zenless has always lacked. Roscaelifer will experience what is called singularity leakage as a combat challenge. It warps local space and creates an environment similar to a hollow, even allowing ethereals to appear. So, I never got around to talking about this, but back when Hollow Zero got actual story quests tied to it, there were some implications that there were ethereals being created by man. It's possible singularity leakage follows a similar thread. There's nothing confirming it's synthetic, but with the heavy emphasis on technology with Marcel Group, Sunbringer, and the fact the city is flying, I want to lean in that direction. But, much to my dismay, if you really think about it, it seems much more likely that the singularity is an object or force being harnessed by humanity. Singularity could be the source of the city's power. It seems very likely it's tied to the Hollows, perhaps even the creator themselves. And if its containment is botched in any little way, leakage occurs. Now, the even cooler theory is that singularity refers to an actual literal singularity, as in a black hole. What if the Hollows look like black holes for a very good reason? I'm gonna be hyper vigilant for that word going forward. And just for completeness, the word has been used in the game before, but only in reference to observation singularities, the collectible orbs and hollows that show you the location of points of interest on the map. I don't believe there's a correlation. There's all sorts of details they cover in the full video, but the last thing I want to specifically talk about is their newfound focus on delivering a structured story. This is awesome. Now I want to admit something. I've spoken quite negatively about Zenless' story in the past. This does not come from a place of entitlement or elitism, only the desire to see a game that I love do its best. I have hundreds of hours in this game, and I've been engrossed in the world since day one. I started this channel as an excuse to yap about the game's lore. So when I started to find myself disappointed with the new story releases, I couldn't help but voice my opinion. But with a decently sized platform like my channel, I have to set a good example. I shouldn't have thrown fuel onto the fire criticizing the story when everyone else online was doing the same. A rule of thumb on the internet is that if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. And if you do have something nice to say it. So I'm going to say it. Zenless opting to tell a more connected multi-patch story has me very excited. It's always felt like the direction the game wanted to go in. Also, apparently, people noticed that Pung, the narrative designer in this video, is the same guy who had a hand in the Elysian Realm story arc from Honkai Impact 3rd, which was later adapted into Honkai Star Rail as Amphorius. If you're not a miserable person on Twitter who can't find joy in anything, causing them to spit vitriol at anyone who does like something, then you'll see this as an exciting opportunity. Some of the most beloved characters from the Honkai series made their appearances in these story arcs. Kevin and Finan, Elysia and Cyrene. And wait a minute. Ramiel... I'm sure it's nothing. Let me know what you're looking forward to in Season 3. The future's looking up. My name has been Galactic. Thank you for watching. Heed the Hollow's call.